All right, our next storyteller will be Anders Lee. Anders Lee, come on. Show your love to Anders Lee. Come on, Jersey! Big love, come on.
Come close, even closer. There you go.
Anders Lee here. The first time I felt ashamed of anything, it was my first day of school for my second year of kindergarten. For most people, kindergarten's like a one-year deal, but took me longer. I was slow as a kid. I was kind of stupid. I was like clinically stupid. Everything was harder for me, learning to read and write and do math, even simple things like scissors or tying my shoes. These things didn't just feel hard for me as a kid, they felt impossible. Now, I was a kid in the 90s when they were scrutinizing the childhood development a lot more closely. And if I had been a few years older, I would have just been known as dumb. But because we were approaching a new millennium and we wanted shit to sound scientific, I was diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified. PDD-NOS. Now, PDD-NOS is technically a part of the autistic spectrum. So for most of my childhood, I went to kind of weird schools. I went to special needs schools, and I was very bad at school and most things, uncoordinated. Couldn't do math very well. But there was one thing that I could do, and that was this: get up in front of people and just talk, act. Because I was so stupid that the part of my brain that tells you to be nervous about this sort of thing just wasn't there for me. Now, when I was going into high school, my parents decided to send me to a performing arts charter school in St. Paul, Minnesota, where we had just moved. And I really didn't want to go there at first. I had gone to weird schools my entire life. I just wanted to go to a normal public school for once. But they insisted, and it wound up being a pretty good experience. I learned about Shakespeare and Tennessee Williams. And I also, instead of PE, took 4 years of dance. Yeah. Dance is a hard thing for a teenager, any teenager, but especially one who's developmentally disabled. I still, to this day, I really can't learn choreography. I have no physical memory. Like, I can bust a move, you know. But if you asked me to recreate the thing I just did a second ago, I wouldn't be able to. Choreography goes in one ear and out the other leg for me. Before my first day of high school, an email was sent out to all of my teachers letting them know that they would have an autistic child in their class named Anders Lee. Some of them said, okay, whatever, but others took this to mean that they had to talk to me like I was really, really special. Hi. Did everything make sense? Did anything make sense? I hated that. I hated that even more than having to take dance. So that's why when the principal came to me and said, you know what, Anders, you suck at dance. If you want, you could just not do it. You're so bad. I said no, because I wanted to be treated like everyone else. Now, about 6 months into ninth grade, I was placed in a hybrid production. It was half tap dancing, half Japanese taiko drumming. It was taught by a twin sister choreographer duo. They had matching windbreakers. I was kind of dreading it at first, but I showed up to rehearsal every day and did my absolute best to learn the steps. I really wanted to show that I could do this. And by the time the final performance came, I felt like I knew the dance. We got out there on stage and we executed. I did the tap dancing when I was supposed to do the tap dancing. I hit the drums on the right beat. I finally did what was expected of me. Then a couple weeks later, some video came back. Didn't go exactly the way I had. I was a few beats off, and I was also looking like directly at the other kids because I still couldn't remember the steps. And I also didn't remember this, but I had a pretty noticeable erection. I felt beyond embarrassed. I felt guilty. I'd let the other kids in the production down. But when I looked over at them, they didn't seem upset with me. They thought it was funny. This is what they expected from me, a special needs kid. Now, looking back to this day, I can't really dance, learn choreography, but I can make people laugh, and I've learned that that's just as good. Thank you.